Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar today for using Navigators and customizing your FCS Express workspace. Today's webinar will cover working with Navigators, docking, pinning, and customizing icons and ribbons in FCS Express. To get started, we're going to open up a layout and we're going to go over some of what Navigators are in FCS Express. A navigator is really any window or pop-out that's used to display and find information in your layouts. There are a number of navigators within FCS Express. We'll open a few here. One is your data list. And again, a navigator is any window that can pop out and be moved around your screen. Other examples of navigators within the software are in your Batch Actions tab. You can see that the Batch Actions window is a navigator that can be moved. In our Data tab and our View tab, we can look at Layout Navigators, Data Navigators, Gate Navigators. For IVD customers, Can Comments are Navigator, Alerts, and for everyone else as well as custom tokens. So there's quite a few navigators within the software. We're only going to focus on a few of these today and their use. But one of the nice things about working with navigators within FCS Express is that they can be docked and pinned anywhere on your layout to customize how you want to work with these things. So for instance, if we drag our data list and we start moving it around the page, what you'll notice is in the center of the screen, you'll be presented with 4 different icons for placing the data list in a different location. And if I drag the data list over the left icon, you notice that the data list will appear on the left-hand side of the screen and remain pinned there, even as I change between different pages. The data list itself, or any navigators that you're working with in the software, can also be pinned or auto-hidden to the side of the page by clicking on the little pin icon on the navigator. When you do this, and we scroll away from the navigator will collapse itself onto the side of the page until you hover over it again. And to get back to where it was, you can simply uncheck the auto hide button or drag and drop the navigator back out into the layout. If you're working with multiple navigators at the same time within FCS Express, such as the batch actions and the data list, you can consider docking these within each other. So in this case, we will dock the batch actions to the left-hand side of the page. And you'll notice that when we begin dragging the data list now, we have another option here to pin or dock the data list within the batch actions tab. So we'll actually just dock it here underneath. And what we have now is our data list pinned or docked directly below our batch actions window, which makes this very easy and convenient when we begin running a batch to work within the data list or within the navigator. And again, if we choose the pin icon, we can see that the data list has now been pinned, and you can actually pin and hide multiple navigators at the same time. So if you wanted your data list, your batch actions to pop out, you can do so. Again, we've been working on the left-hand side of the page for this, but you can dock in multiple locations within the layout. So if you wanted batch actions pinned on one side, data list pinned on the other, you can see it's actually very quick and easy to do this in multiple locations within the software. Now, another nice feature about FCS Express 5 is that files within the File tab, when we come into the File tab, we look at our recent documents and places. These places and documents can be pinned as well using this little pin icon next to it. So if we had a common layout or template that we always wanted to appear at the top of our recent documents, we can simply click the pin icon and it will pin it to the top of the documents section. And the same thing will go with places as well. So if we had a particular folder where we want to access layouts or data, we can simply pin that to our places and it will always appear at the top of our list. So as you can see, again, there's many different ways that you can pin and you can dock any of these navigators or these pop-out windows within FCS Express to make it more convenient to access the frequently used features and navigators within the software. Now we're also going to be discussing a few navigators in particular that were added in version 4 of FCS Express, and they're now within version 5, of course. These are found within the View tab. And there's 3 specific navigators that can help you navigate large layouts, complex data very quickly and easily. These are the Layout Navigator, the Data Navigator, and the Gate Navigator. We'll begin with the Layout Navigator. We'll open up the Layout Navigator, and you can see that in the Layout Navigator, we're actually showing every page within your layout as a new expandable and collapsible window here. So our statistics page is located here. You can see that we have many pages in this particular analysis, and they're all located here within the Layout Navigator. Now the Layout Navigator will allow you to simply click on a page in your layout. It will jump you to that page within FCS Express, which is very convenient rather than using the page tabs at the bottom. The other thing that the Layout Navigator will do is when you expand a section, it will show you all of the plots and objects and images that have been inserted on that particular page. And if you're looking to find a particular plot or object, you can simply click on that object, and FCS Express will jump to the page and it will highlight that object within the layout or within that page. So when I click on plot 373 for this color dot plot, you can see that we've jumped to the page and we've highlighted that plot. We'll show this again here on our T&K myeloid page. We click on plot 192. You can see that FCS Express will jump to the page and it will highlight that plot for you. So the Layout Navigator is a great way to work with if you have many different plots and many different pages, to simply open up the Layout Navigator and find the plot or the object that you need to get to very quickly and easily. Now, another useful tip about working with navigators is that when you have a navigator docked to any part of the layout or any part of the page, when you hover over a particular plot in the navigator, in any navigator, a small thumbnail for that plot will be displayed. So if we wanted to see, for instance, what might be going on in our CD45 dim page here, to find the plot of interest we want to look at, you can see that we have thumbnails displayed for that. And again, when we click on it, even when we're docked on the left-hand side, we'll jump there and get a nice view of that plot. Now, the Data Navigator is another navigator within the software. The Data Navigator will show you any FCS files that you have loaded into your layout at the current time. So in this case, we have a multiple tube panel where we have about 6 FCS files loaded into our data list and loaded into the panel. And in the Data Navigator, we're showing each file. And when we expand the Data Navigator, we're showing all of the plots that these files, all the plots in which these files have been displayed. So very much like the Layout Navigator, where we're showing you pages and objects on the page, in this case we're showing you data files and where they exist in the layout and the plots. So again, if we click on a plot within the Data Navigator, it will actually jump us to that particular page and that particular plot to actually view what that data file looks like. So you can see here, we've jumped the plot 348, and when we click here, we're actually jumping over to a different page and looking at that plot. Now again, just like any of the other navigators, once we have this docked, we can simply show a small thumbnail to see what that data file looks like in the plot that it exists in. So data navigators are great, especially when you're working with larger panels, or again, you have many plots inserted somewhere in your layout, and you need to make a kind of quick jump or make sense of that data very quickly and easily. The Gate Navigator is another tool or another navigator located within the View tab. The Gate Navigator provides a way to look at all of the plots that have particular gates applied to them. So the Gate Navigator will show you all of the gates that you've created and all the gating hierarchy associated with them, but it will also show you all plots that have the gate applied to it. So if we wanted to look at the plot that has the CD19 positive gate applied to it, it's plot number 60. When I click on this, it will actually jump us to our CD19 plot, and we'll be able to view what is going on with that particular data. So if we look at some other plots or some other gates such as our CD45 DIN gate. There's a lot more plots that have been gated on this date, and you can see that as we jump around here, where these plots actually exist and are coming from. The other nice thing about working with the Gate Navigator is that if you'd like to change which gate is applied to a particular plot, you can simply drag and drop from the Gate Navigator. So if we'd like to apply the lymphs gate to the CD19 positive plot, instead of the CD19 positive, you can see that we've now applied the lymphs gate to that. And again, if we wanted to jump back and reapply the CD19 positive gate, we can do so. Now, an important distinction is to be found here between the Gate Navigator and when we come in here, we look at the Insert tab and Gate View. You can see that these are located next to each other here. We've inserted a Gate View. So please keep in mind that the Gate Navigator is a tool to locate plots that have particular gates applied to them, while your Gate View is where you're going to be able to change any of your gating hierarchies, as you can see here. It's also where you're going to be able to double click on a particular gate, change the names, the colors, the emphasis on plots, things like that. So again, the Gate Navigator is a tool for finding plots that have gates applied to them, while the Gate View is your general gating tool to recreate or to change gating hierarchies and to create new gates and to edit existing gates. So we can also do some other unique things in FCS Express for quickly accessing different features and functionalities within the software. A lot of this is controlled through what we call the Quick Access Toolbar. And you can see that this is the Quick Access Toolbar up here. By default, we show a few different icons in here, the Save button, the Undo, and the Redo button. Below the Quick Access Toolbar is what we consider the ribbon, the tabs and ribbon system here. And you can notice that we have quite a number of your default options for plots and such within each of these tabs. Now, all of this can be formatted at your discretion. So if you know that you'd like to press the Open a New Layout button or import a BDFX Diva file or something like that, quite often you want it in one location. This is what the Quick Access Toolbar can be used for. We'll go through some of the different options here, but if you click on the little down icon in the Quick Access Toolbar, you'll notice that a hint appears for more buttons. What this will allow you to do is change where the Quick Access Toolbar is located. So if we change Show Quick Access Toolbar below the ribbon, you can see that it actually falls below here. We can put this back above the ribbon. We also have the option here to minimize the ribbon itself as well. So if you'd rather just have page tabs appearing on top and only having the ribbon appear when you click on a page tab and then hiding itself, that's a good option for you to change here within our Quick Access Toolbar. Now, as I mentioned, any of the options that are available within the software can be added to the Quick Access Toolbar or to any of your tabs and ribbons at will. You can simply click on the down icon here in the Quick Access Toolbar and click on More Commands. And in the Toolbars section, these are all the toolbars that are currently active and available within FCS Express. And if we click on New, you'll notice that a new toolbar name pops up, and we can call this our new toolbar. And a toolbar will appear below the ribbon within FCS Express. And what we can do now is customize this toolbar to display whatever we would like. We can do this by coming into the command section, and in the command section you can find all of the default icons or all of the available icons within FCS Express. So if we wanted to create a toolbar and we put our new file or new layout icon in there, we'll now have the new layout icon available to us very quickly and easily. Another thing you may want to do, if you know that you kind of use ellipse gates quite often, we can put this in here, markers, really anything that you wanted to do within the software, you can find it and you can place it in this new Quick Access Toolbar that you've created. Now, if you decide that you don't want to show this toolbar any longer, you can simply uncheck it and you can even delete it. from our customizing options here, and it will be deleted or removed. Now, there are other options that you can do with the commands in our customized window here. Instead of creating a new toolbar to place these commands, you can place them anywhere in the software that you'd like. So if you know quite often you need to import a BDFaxDiva file, you can simply drag and drop this up to the quick access toolbar and drop it, and you notice that the import BDFaxDiva icon is now there. If you know that you need to export items as a PowerPoint presentation quite often, you can simply drag this up here and drop it, and it will be located there now. So now when we close the Quick Access Toolbar Customize options, we can now have access to Save PowerPoint file. When we click this, you can see that the Save as Microsoft PowerPoint presentation dialog appears. So again, these are just kind of quick and easy ways that you can customize your workspace here, that you can come in and have very quick access to many of the features that are located amongst the many ribbons and tabs. Now, the same thing applies for working within the ribbon and tab system itself. If you know that you'd like to use the Home tab quite often, perhaps you use the Gating tab, whatever it is that you want to do, you can actually come into the More Commands section, and you can add new items to any of the tabs that you wanted. So a kind of common thing that people may want to do is within this Home tab, you notice that we don't have an option to print here, but we do have all the page layout settings. If you wanted to put in, say, print current page, you can simply drag this up here. Wherever the little handlebars appear is where you can drop it, and you can see that we now have the option to print current page. We can do that if we wanted to put in maybe a color printing over here on the right. If we wanted to put in a grayscale printing or a general print button, we can simply do that. So you can build up any of your tab and ribbon systems very quickly and easily to have all the icons and all the actions that you want to perform at a single click or a glance. So one of the final things we wanted to discuss today on this quick webinar was changing plot types and using what we call plot themes within FCS Express. So the plot themes are a way that you can default FCS Express to use certain fonts and colors with any of the new plots that you create in the software. And what we mean is, say we insert a color dot plot, and you can see that we have a particular font and background scheme associated with this particular plot. This particular plot is called the Modern theme in FCS Express, and you're able to select this by clicking on the File tab, Options, and coming into the Plots section. And you can see here that in the plot section, we have a dialog for plot themes. And plot themes are, again, a way that you can remember all of these kind of formatting options for plots. So if we were to go back here and choose default and click OK, now every time we insert a plot in FCS Express, it will be inserted with the default kind of font formatting and background coloring and things like that, which is just white with a standard kind of font and colors. Again, this was inserted with the Modern theme. Now, at any time, if you make any changes to a plot and you determine or you set a new kind of theme for your plot, you can save that as a plot theme and use that over and over again. So if we decided, for instance, we'll right-click and format this plot, and for the background, instead of using a gradient, we'll use a solid light green color, for instance, so we can see that change. We came into the axes, instead of using blue, maybe we'll use red for one, and we'll use violet for another, and click OK. And you can see here that we actually have a red axis line and a violet axis line. And again, one more change we're going to make very quickly just to help visualize this. For our font labels, we're going to change these to red. And with this one, we're going to change it to red as well. So whenever we create a new kind of style for a plot, you can now right-click on this plot in FCS Express 5, and at the bottom of the list, you can say Save as Plot Theme. We can call this whatever we'd like. We will call it this time our new theme. And it will now be saved in FCS Express. You can see here that we're still using our default theme when we insert a plot, but if we came up to our File tab and Options, and we click on Plots, we now have our new theme that we saved available to us in the Plot Themes list. So when we click OK, and then begin inserting new plots, any of the new plots that we create will use this current theme that we've defined. So this will work for any of our color dot plots. Anything that you wish to insert in FCS Express will now use these themes that you've defined. The themes are also completely manageable as well. If we click on the Options tab again and we come into Plots, you can see that we have an option here to manage user themes. So if you'd like, you can click on this button. If you decide that you would no longer like to use this theme, or you'd like to delete it or to rename it, you can simply click on the buttons to delete or rename that theme, to remove them or change that. So in this case, we'll click OK. And we'll go back to our FCS Express Modern theme. And now any new plots that we insert will go back to using this default FCS Express Modern theme within the software. So today we've covered a little bit about navigators and dockable navigators and how they're dockable and pinnable dialogues. They can be used to quickly access and display information on your layouts. We've seen that the quick access toolbar and the commands can be formatted any way you'd like. They can be put into the quick access toolbar. They can be put into the ribbons and the layouts. So that way you can quickly access commonly used features and commands. And we've also learned a little bit about plot themes, which allow you to customize the default look and feel of any plots that you create in FCS Express. So if you haven't yet already, you can always try out a 30-day trial of FCS Express for free. You can visit us at www.denovosoftware.com. If you have any questions about anything you've seen today or need some more information, you can also email us at support@denovosoftware.com with any questions that you may have.